Aloha, it's Jim Channon from the Bioport in Hawaii. I have worked in the Army at many levels, in the corporate world at many levels, and in the commercial world outside towns, districts, waterfronts, tourist facilities for about 45 years, doing fundamentally the same thing. But that same thing, when I unpack it, I like that word, when I unpack it or break down all the sub-skills that I used to pull it off, is an idea, a set of ideas which is not very familiar to the, for instance, academic world. I have been fundamentally a change agent. I have used the processes of a shaman, which is sort of like a societal doctor slash change agent. Now, in doing that work, there are quite a few fairly specialized tools and skills that I put together over the years, and it is that tool set that I like to break down for you during this program. So here we go. So here is what I call a graphic bundle. It's a lot more effective when you have more than a dozen ideas, much more effective than a paragraph. And what I'd like to do then is to show you the yellow banners here around the change agent. And the yellow banners are the fundamental processes the shaman goes through. He first illuminates an idea, sees it in its fullness, then he rediscovers the power of it by turning it about in his imagination and seeing if there's not something more powerful. Then he streamlines the new idea, meaning packs it up in such a way graphically and culturally so that it's acceptable. And then he launches the idea with a major production of some kind. And finally, he includes certain artifacts and certain cultural norms inside of the idea so that it becomes embedded in the group that he's doing the job for. So 5 processes: illumination, discovery, with rediscovery being the big point here, the paradigm shift, find the best stuff, the streamlining, the launch, and the embedding. Now, in every case, there's some sub-skills involved. So for illumination, for example, we will include the observer. Now, I began as a scout in the Army, and there were very many things I learned as an observer. By the time I went through military and then commercial systems like, automobile plants and FedEx and places where huge numbers of goods and elements were dealt with, I could create a whole systems observation in my looking, in my seeing, and obviously make sketches of the whole system that would illuminate what was there. Additionally, when I was listening to people tell me ideas, I had to listen deeper than normal. I call this deep psychic listening. But people, when they're talking, have a way of toning the important parts of what they're saying, and obviously if they're getting information from somewhere else in the universe, that is also comes through in a different tone as well. So I use those 2 skills primarily to illuminate or see fully the context and the working elements of an idea. Now, in the rediscovery phase, first of all, I take the big picture, and in my imagination, I turn that picture around and look at it from every possible angle, from the large to the small, from the end of the process back to the beginning and back to the end, in such a way as to discover what is there that I didn't know about before. Sometimes it involves actually changing the entire idea or rediscovering it, and sometimes it involves simply giving it much more power. I use sorting when I'm dealing with word content, so that I can pick my way through the words and pull out all the important pieces and then put those pieces in some working order and prioritize the value of those in this rediscovery phase. Now, once I've chosen a solution, I will then take the time needed to streamline it. And what I mean by that is put the essential parts together in a compelling graphic that moves the entire idea toward the objective. And those are strategic landscapes or strategic visions. That involves, first of all, taking the ideas and bundling them in a graphic way, making models on landscapes. And you've seen those in the rest of my presentations. In addition, I apply my social architecture head, where I look at the 50 artifacts of culture, and I begin to select artifacts of culture that also support the idea that I am so-called streamlining. So I streamline the information graphically, and I also program the information culturally. Now, when I begin to launch the whole idea or give my clients back the information they have given me, but in a highly organized and powerful way, I must entertain the fool. The fool who is willing to say, I need to be bigger than just information. Energy is sometimes more important than content. Tone sometimes is more important than content. The fool is willing to entertain an Italian character if he wants the group that's about to launch off on this new idea to feel very invigorated about their launch. And that's when the storyteller and the fool marry their skills, and off we go into the mythological but potent description of the happy voyage to the happy ending. And finally, when you give the product to the culture itself that's needing to do this, whether it be a corporate culture or a town or whatnot, it's important to embed the ideas, as I mentioned, culturally. Now, that could be with artifacts. Now, t-shirts with slogans on them are one of the artifacts of modern culture, and a very quick way to solidify a meme or a description of the basic idea in a couple of words. But we can also, as the shaman, go into full-on heraldry and ceremony and bring people through a rites of passage, as it were, to embed the idea as a cultural behavior. And as such, we have now completed the cycle, which is in my view, most appropriately called shamanic, but in fact, in the modern world, we'll use the word change agent. And this is the set of skills or the graphic bundle that I have chosen to explain the entire set to you. So, there we have it. Now, this bundle of skills, I don't think you're going to find presently in any school on planet Earth. So, I recommend you look at this program a couple of times if you're interested in being a change agent. Take down the skill base and then go and find it where you can. Some of it is on the rest of the videos that I've prepared. But this is properly, for the beginner, a full course at a university. And for the professional, probably a graduate course, like a specialty at an MBA school. And my business, of course, is to create things ahead of their time. So this is the sketch or the mythogram of those things that are likely to come in the future. Maybe you can get ahead of the curve. Know what I mean?